If you truly want to transform your life before 2026, the first thing you must understand is that transformation never starts in your circumstances. It starts in your decisions. Your life only changes when you decide that the version of you you've been is no longer the version you're willing to remain. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect motivation before they act. But transformation begins the moment you say, enough is enough. I'm done living below my potential. That decision becomes the foundation for every step forward. When you make that decision, the second step is upgrading your standards. You cannot expect a first-class life while maintaining an economy-class work ethic. Your standards determine your outcomes, and your excuses determine your limitations. Every time you justify why you can't evolve, you reinforce the identity that's keeping you stuck. But the moment you raise your standards, how you speak, how you think, how you show up, your results begin to shift. You begin to operate in alignment with your future instead of your past. Then you must understand that your mindset governs your momentum. Your mind is the steering wheel of your life. If you think small, you move small. If you think fear, you move hesitant. But when you train your mind to think possibility, responsibility, and opportunity, your life accelerates. Your mindset is not something you fix once. It's something you refine daily. Every morning you choose whether you think in alignment with your limitations or your destiny. The fourth step is mastering the power of small wins. Transformations don't happen through massive, sudden changes. They happen through small, consistent improvements that compound over time. One new habit repeated daily becomes a new identity. 1 hour of focus can change the trajectory of your whole month. One act of discipline can rebuild the self-respect you thought you lost. Never underestimate the power of what you do consistently. Consistency is the currency of transformation. The next step is controlling your environment. Your environment is shaping you, even when you don't notice it. The voices you hear, the energy you tolerate, the habits you surround yourself with, they all mold your life. You cannot transform while staying in places that celebrate your excuses. Before 2026 comes, you must intentionally build an environment that aligns with who you want to become. That may mean distancing from distractions, replacing entertainment with education, and choosing relationships that sharpen you instead of drain you. Then you must establish a vision that pulls you. A powerful vision removes confusion, and when confusion leaves, speed enters. You cannot accelerate towards something you cannot see. Your vision must become so clear that every day you know what you're building, why you're building it, and who you must become to earn it. Vision is not just a picture of your future, it's a demand on your present. Seventh, you must take action before you feel ready. Too many people lose years waiting for perfect preparation. Action reveals the path. Action reveals the missing knowledge. Action creates momentum. Every dream you have is on the other side of one uncomfortable step. If you want to transform, you must stop waiting for confidence and start moving with conviction. Next, you must master discipline. Discipline is the difference between people who wish and people who win. Motivation feels good, but discipline produces results. Discipline keeps you when motivation disappears. Discipline builds habits, and habits build character. When you commit to disciplined action, whether you feel like it or not, you separate yourself from 99% of the world. Ninth, you must learn to invest in yourself. Nothing transforms faster than the person who is willing to learn, grow, and upgrade their skills. Every course, every book, every mentor, every new environment you enter reshapes your thinking. The greatest risk you can take is staying the same. The greatest investment you can make is becoming better, sharper, wiser, and more valuable. And finally, you must stay committed long enough to see the results. Most people quit not because the process doesn't work, but because they don't stay consistent long enough for the harvest to show. Transformation takes time, but time rewards the committed. If you plant the right seeds now, water them daily, and stay patient, 2026 will not just be another year, it will be the year everything changes for you. So if you want to transform your life before 2026, decide today who you will become, raise your standards, guard your mind, win small daily, build a better environment, hold a clear vision, take action boldly, stay disciplined, invest in yourself, and commit until the results appear. Do these 10 things, and you won't just enter 2026 differently, you'll enter it transformed, powerful, and unstoppable. Transformation starts with a decision long before results ever show up. A decision is not a wish, not a hope, not a maybe one day. A real decision is a line you draw in your life where you say, the version of me who accepts this level of living is gone. Most people think transformation begins when the opportunities come, when the money arrives, when the motivation hits, or when the circumstances finally align, but that's not how it works. Transformation begins the moment you choose to stop negotiating with your old self. A decision is powerful because it changes your identity before it changes your reality. When you decide you're done procrastinating, done playing small, done entertaining distractions, done settling for average, something shifts inside you. You stop talking like the old you. You stop showing up like the old you. You stop tolerating what the old you tolerated. And that internal shift becomes the engine of everything that happens next. The reason most people stay stuck is not because they lack potential, it's because they haven't fully decided. They're halfway in their growth and halfway in their comfort. They want new results but cling to old habits. They want a different life but refuse to release the version of themselves that produced the life they currently have. But nothing changes until you decide with clarity, with finality, and with conviction that the future you desire is non-negotiable. When you make that kind of decision, you stop waiting for motivation and start creating movement. You stop looking for validation and start trusting your direction. You stop living by emotions and start living by intention. A true decision cuts off every escape route back to the old life. It forces you to grow because going backward is no longer an option. And here's the truth. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not as wide as you think. The moment you decide who you must become, your actions begin to align with that identity. Your habits shift. Your focus sharpens. Your energy rises. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly start appearing, not because they weren't there before, but because you weren't the person who could see them. Transformation is not an accident. It's not luck. It's not fate. It's the outcome of a decision strong enough to pull your life into alignment with your potential. Once your decision is made, discipline becomes easier, consistency becomes natural, and progress becomes inevitable. Your decision sets the direction, and your direction determines your destiny. So if you want a breakthrough before 2026, don't wait for a sign. Don't wait for circumstances to improve. Decide right now that your life is going to rise, your standards are going to rise, and you are going to rise. Everything you're asking for, everything you're dreaming about, everything you feel called to become, it all begins the moment you finally decide. Upgrading your standards, not your excuses, is one of the most powerful shifts you will ever make on your journey to transformation. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because their standards are too low and their excuses are too high. Your standards are the invisible ceiling that dictates how you think, how you act, how you speak, and what you tolerate. When your standards are weak, your excuses become strong. But when your standards rise, everything in your life has to rise with them. Think about it. Your habits, your discipline, your consistency, your relationships, your results, all of them are a reflection of what you've decided is acceptable. If you tolerate lateness, you'll stay late. If you tolerate procrastination, you'll stay behind. If you tolerate average effort, you'll live an average life. But the moment you raise your standards, you begin to operate on a completely different level. You stop negotiating with your commitments. You stop entertaining distractions. You stop settling for good enough because you know good enough has never created greatness. Upgrading your standards means you stop talking about what you want and start becoming the person who deserves what you want. Anybody can say they want success, discipline, health, wealth, or growth, but the question is, what version of you is actually worthy of the outcome you're asking for? Your future requires a higher standard than your past ever demanded. You cannot step into a greater life while maintaining the same habits that built your current one. When you raise your standards, excuses can no longer survive. Excuses thrive in environments where comfort is king. They grow where discipline is weak. They multiply where accountability doesn't exist. But the moment you set a new standard, like I start my day early, I finish what I begin, I don't break promises to myself, I surround myself only with people who sharpen me, your excuses lose their power. They no longer align with the identity you're building. The truth is, your excuses are not the problem. They're symptoms of the standards you've been accepting. When you demand more from yourself, you automatically require more from your environment, your habits, and your outcomes. You stop blaming circumstances and start creating solutions. You stop wishing for change and start working for change. You stop hoping for better days and start building better days. And here's the breakthrough: upgrading your standards doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you become. It shifts your posture, it elevates your confidence, it sharpens your focus. People who operate from high standards carry themselves differently, think differently, speak differently, and attract differently. Their life has structure. Their goals have urgency. Their actions have purpose. If you want 2026 to look nothing like 2025, you must stop letting excuses run your life. Excuses will always give you a reason to stay where you are, but upgraded standards will always demand that you rise to where you could be. You don't get what you want, you get what you're willing to require from yourself. The moment you elevate your standards above your excuses, your transformation becomes unstoppable. Your mindset determines your momentum because your life will always move in the direction of your dominant thoughts. Your mind is the command center of every action you take, every decision you make, and every level you rise to. Before your results change, your thinking must change. Before your habits shift, your beliefs must shift. Before your life accelerates, your mindset has to align with the future you want. Most people slow down not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because their thinking is stuck in old patterns that cannot carry them into new seasons. Your mindset is the lens through which you interpret everything. Your challenges, your potential, your opportunities, your failures. Two people can face the same situation and walk away with completely different outcomes, simply because one sees possibility and the other sees limitation. When your mindset is rooted in fear, doubt, scarcity, and excuses, your momentum dies. You hesitate. You second guess yourself. You sabotage your own progress because your mind is constantly arguing for your limitations. But when your mindset is anchored in growth, responsibility, abundance, and faith in your ability to evolve, everything speeds up. You make decisions faster. You take action with confidence. You pursue opportunities that once intimidated you. Momentum is not just physical, it's mental. It's the inner force that keeps you moving when motivation fades and challenges show up. And that force is built by the thoughts you choose every single day. If you wake up thinking problems, you will see obstacles. If you wake up thinking purpose, you will see opportunities. If you think like a victim, you'll stay stuck. If you think like a creator, you'll build forward. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your motion. Transforming your mindset is not a one-time event. It's a daily discipline. You have to train your mind the way an athlete trains their body. You eliminate the thoughts that weaken you and feed the ones that strengthen you. You stop rehearsing your failures and start rehearsing your future. You stop focusing on what's missing and start focusing on what's possible. You stop telling yourself stories that limit your capacity and start telling yourself the truth, that you can grow, you can improve, you can overcome, and you can create a life bigger than anything you've experienced so far. As your mindset expands, your life expands with it. You begin to attract better opportunities because you finally believe you're worthy of them. You begin to push through challenges because you know adversity is a teacher, not a prison. You begin to take bold actions because your mind is no longer filled with fear, but with clarity and conviction. And the more your mind aligns with your potential, the faster your momentum builds. If you want to transform before 2026, guard your mind like it's the most valuable asset you have, because it is. What you feed it will determine how far you go. What you allow will determine what you achieve. Your mindset is the ignition, and your momentum is the engine. When you master your thoughts, you master your direction. And when your direction is aligned with your destiny, your momentum becomes unstoppable. Small wins shape big transformations because greatness is never built in a single moment. It's built in a series of quiet, consistent victories that nobody sees. People often look at successful individuals and assume they achieved everything through one massive breakthrough, one big opportunity, or one perfect moment. But the truth is, the breakthrough was simply the visible result of thousands of small wins that came long before it. Small wins are the bricks that build the foundation of every transformation. A small win might look insignificant on the surface, Waking up early, finishing a task you've been avoiding, choosing discipline over comfort, learning something new, improving a skill by 1%, or staying consistent when you don't feel like it. But each small win builds your confidence. Each small win strengthens your identity. Each small win reinforces the belief that you are capable of growth, capable of discipline, and capable of showing up for your own future. Small wins matter because they compound. One day of consistency doesn't change your life, but 100 days of consistency can rewrite your entire identity. One tiny improvement repeated daily can lead to massive results over months and years. The problem is that most people underestimate the power of small wins because they don't see immediate results. They quit too early because the transformation doesn't show up fast enough. But transformation is not instant. It's cumulative. Every time you choose a small win, you vote for the person you want to become. If you want to be someone with discipline, every small disciplined action is a vote. If you want to be someone with confidence, every moment you push past fear is a vote. If you want to be someone successful, every intentional step you take is a vote. Eventually, the votes add up and your identity shifts, not because of one big leap, but because of consistent forward movement. Small wins also build momentum. When you complete one small task, you naturally want to complete the next. When you honor one promise to yourself, you feel stronger to honor the next. This momentum becomes the fuel that drives you through seasons when motivation is low. It becomes the energy that keeps you moving when challenges try to slow you down. It becomes the proof you need to know that progress is happening, even if it's not visible yet. And here's what makes small wins unstoppable. They're not intimidating. They're achievable. You don't need perfect conditions, massive time blocks, or extraordinary effort. You just need consistency. 5 minutes of growth a day is better than 2 hours once a month. One intentional habit practiced daily is more powerful than a burst of motivation that lasts 48 hours. Small wins are accessible to everyone, but mastered by few. If you want to transform your life before 2026, stop obsessing over the finish line and start focusing on the next step. Celebrate the small wins, honor them, track them, build them. These small victories will quietly reshape your identity, align your mind with your goals, and create unstoppable momentum. Because transformation isn't built in a day, but it is built daily. Small wins may look small now, but they are the seeds of the biggest breakthroughs you will ever experience. Your environment predicts your outcome because no matter how strong your mindset is, no matter how big your dreams are, you cannot outgrow an environment that constantly pulls you backward. Your environment is always shaping you, your beliefs, your habits, your expectations, your standards, whether you realize it or not. You rise or fall to the level of the people around you. You get influenced by the energy you allow into your life. You absorb the values of the spaces you spend the most time in. And over time, your environment becomes the blueprint of your destiny. If you're surrounded by negativity, you start thinking negatively. If you're surrounded by people who settle, you start lowering your standards. If you spend your time in places that encourage laziness, distraction, and comfort, your drive begins to shrink. You cannot expect to build a disciplined, purpose-driven life while living in an environment that rewards your excuses. The wrong environment will suffocate your potential long before you even get a chance to express it. But the right environment will do the opposite. It will elevate you when you place yourself around people who think bigger, who work harder, who challenge themselves, who move with intention and purpose. You begin to adopt their mindset and momentum. When you choose environments that feed your growth, books that expand your thinking, spaces that encourage productivity, mentors who stretch your perspective, you naturally rise. You start to expect more from yourself because you're surrounded by people and places that demand more from you. Your environment doesn't just influence you, it reflects what you believe you deserve. If you allow chaos, it means you believe chaos is acceptable. If you allow distraction, it means you believe distraction is harmless. If you allow relationships that drain you, it means you believe you must tolerate them. But the moment you decide that your destiny is too important for anything less than excellence, your environment has to change. Changing your environment may mean reorganizing your workspace so it inspires creativity instead of chaos. It may mean spending less time with people who complain and more time with people who build. It may mean cutting out toxic influences and replacing them with empowering ones. It may mean choosing silence over noise, education over entertainment, clarity over confusion. Sometimes the biggest transformation comes not from changing yourself first, but from changing the environment that shaped the old you. Your environment is like soil. You are the seed, no matter how much potential a seed carries. It cannot grow in dead soil. Place the same seed in rich soil, and it will grow effortlessly. Your life works the same way. When you are planted in the right environment, supportive, goal-focused, disciplined, high-standard, growth-oriented, your transformation becomes natural, predictable, and almost inevitable. If you want 2026 to be radically different, you must intentionally redesign the spaces, people, habits, and influences around you. Because your environment is not just a reflection of your present, it is a forecast of your future. Shape your environment with purpose, and it will shape your destiny with power. Vision with action creates acceleration, because a vision without movement is just imagination, and action without vision is just exhaustion. When you combine the clarity of where you want to go with the discipline to move toward it every single day, your life starts speeding up in ways that feel almost supernatural. Vision gives you direction. Action gives you momentum. And when those two align, you enter a level of acceleration that most people never experience. A clear vision wakes you up in the morning with purpose. It gives you a reason to push through the discomfort, the delays, the doubts, and the obstacles. A powerful vision pulls you forward. It becomes your internal compass, reminding you who you're becoming and what you're building. But vision alone is not enough. There are millions of people with dreams, goals, and plans who never see them materialize because they never took consistent, intentional action. They waited for motivation. They waited for the perfect conditions. They waited for clarity that only action could provide. Action is the bridge between your current reality and your future potential. It is the evidence that you are serious about your vision. When you take action, even imperfect action, you create feedback. You learn, you adjust, you improve. You discover new paths, new opportunities, new strategies that you could not have seen standing still. Action turns your vision into something real, something tangible, something measurable. And every step you take increases your momentum. The magic happens when your vision guides your actions, and your actions reinforce your vision. You start to move faster because you're no longer drifting. You're aiming. You're no longer guessing. You're building. You're no longer wishing. You're working. Vision gives your action meaning, and action gives your vision power. Most people don't struggle because they lack a dream. They struggle because they lack the movement required to honor the dream. They want the reward, but they avoid the responsibility. They want the destination, but they resist the discipline. But when you decide that your vision is not optional and your action is not negotiable, something shifts. You operate with urgency. You operate with focus. You operate with intention. And because of that, your progress accelerates. Acceleration happens when your daily actions align with your long-term vision. It happens when you stop living by emotions and start living by purpose. It happens when every step you take pulls you closer to the life you see in your mind. Suddenly, the goals that once seemed distant start getting closer. Opportunities start showing up. Growth happens quicker. Breakthroughs become more frequent. Not because luck arrived, but because action met vision. If you want a faster transformation before 2026, get clear on what you want and commit to acting on it daily. Do not wait for inspiration. Move first. Do not wait for the perfect plan. Start with what you have. Do not wait until you feel ready. Your readiness grows with movement. When your vision leads you and your action follows, acceleration becomes inevitable. You stop crawling toward your future and start running toward it with momentum, clarity, and unstoppable force. Transformation is not an accident, not a mystery, and not a gift reserved for the chosen few. It is the result of deliberate decisions, elevated standards, disciplined thinking, intentional actions, and environments that support your growth. Every step you take shapes the person you become. And every choice you make sends you closer to the life you desire or deeper into the life you're trying to escape. By deciding to rise, raising what you expect from yourself, mastering your mindset, honoring small wins, protecting your environment, and aligning your vision with consistent action, you position yourself for a breakthrough that is not temporary, but permanent. As you move toward 2026, remember that nothing in your life changes until you do. You are the architect, the builder, and the executor of your future. You are not waiting on luck, timing, or external approval. You are waiting on your own commitment. The power to transform is already within you. The future you want is already calling your name. This is your moment to stop living by chance and start living by choice. Your transformation begins the second you take responsibility for it. And if you stay consistent, stay intentional, and stay aligned with who you are becoming, 2026 won't just be a new year, it will be a new life.